The Wolf and the Crane. Once, a wolf just hunted a prey down. As he was scared of the approaching vultures, he gulped down the prey. For his bad luck, a bone got stuck in his throat. He could neither swallow it nor spit it out. He became helpless. What worsened the matter was, he could not eat a thing. Certainly, an awful state for a greedy wolf to be in. Finally, with no ray of hope, he decided to approach a crane for help. He was sure that she could take it out. The crane was scared of the cunning wolf, so she did not agree to help. The wolf promised that he would not harm the crane. Also, he agreed to reward her handsomely if she helped him out of this difficulty. Now, the crane was very afraid of putting her head in the wolf's throat. But she was good at heart, and so she did what the wolf expected of her. As soon as the wolf was relieved of the sticking bone, he began to walk away. "But what of my reward that you had promised?" the anxious crane called out. "Reward? Haven't you already got it? Is it not enough that I did not chop your head off when I had a chance to?" replied the wolf with a cunning smile. Do not expect any reward for serving the wicked.
There lived 4 great friends: a mouse, a crow, a tortoise, and a deer. They used to meet every evening under a tree. One evening, the deer did not come for the meeting. "What could have happened to her?" asked the anxious mouse. The crow immediately replied, "I will go and look for her at once." The crow flew and flew over the forest. Suddenly, he heard a faint voice calling for help. He flew down and found the deer caught in the net. The crow hurried back to his friends. "Come on, our friend has been trapped in a hunter's net," cried the crow. The tortoise thought for a while. "Can you cut the net with the sharp teeth?" asked the tortoise, looking at the mouse. "Oh, yes, I can, but how will I get to that place?" asked the confused mouse. "I will carry you on my back. Come, quick," replied the crow. The mouse jumped onto the crow's back, and they set out to rescue their dear friend. As soon as the mouse reached the spot, he cut the net with his strong teeth and set the deer free. In the meantime, the tortoise managed to join them. While the 4 friends were rejoicing, the hunter slowly walked in. He noticed that the deer had escaped from his trap. He looked around in fury. Sensing the danger, the crow flew away. The mouse dashed into a hole, and the deer ran away. The slow tortoise gently crawled towards the bush to save himself. The angry eyes of the hunter fell on the crawling tortoise. He seized him and put him in his bag. The crow, who was watching everything from the top of the tree, called out, "Dear friends, the tortoise is in great danger. We must save him." "I know what to do. I shall go and stand in the path of the hunter, pretending to eat grass. He will surely run after me, leaving the bag there. Mouse can cut open the bag and save the tortoise," said the deer. The deer did as he planned. The greedy hunter, leaving the bag there, ran to catch the deer. The deer skillfully escaped into safety. In the meantime, the mouse quickly cut open the bag with his sharp teeth and freed the tortoise. Seeing that the tortoise had escaped, the greedy hunter cried, "What an unlucky day! I will have to stop tonight." The disappointed hunter went home with his empty bag and the 4 friends were overjoyed with success. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Once upon a time, 2 wild geese and a tortoise lived in a lake in a forest. They were great friends. One summer, a terrible drought hit the land. The lake began to dry up.
This lake is no longer a comfortable place to live. Let's seek another home,
said a goose to the other. After finding a lake in a faraway land, the geese went back to their former home to meet their friend, the tortoise. The tortoise felt very happy to see his friends. The geese described the beauty of their newfound home. The tortoise wiped a tear and said, "I wish I had wings to fly to that new home." The generous and kind-hearted geese felt very sad to hear the words of the tortoise. They could not think of leaving him alone.
"Dear friend, let's think of a way to help you,"
they told the tortoise. The tortoise came up with an idea. He said, "If you can hold the end of a stick between your beaks, I will close my mouth very firmly around its center. This way, you can take me to the new home also."
"Good idea, but you should not open your mouth during the flight, for you will fall down," said the geese. The tortoise readily agreed, and the geese rose into the air with a stick between their beaks and the tortoise holding on to it. As they flew over the little town, the people cried, "Look, a flying tortoise!" The tortoise was thrilled and wanted to call out to the people. He opened his mouth, fell down, and met with his end. The geese were shocked at this incident. They cried a lot on losing their dear friend. As they flew back home, one of them said to the other, "Poor tortoise, he should have learned when to keep quiet. Sometimes it pays not to be talkative." Then they flew down to search for him. Luckily, he was seen lying on a big heap of haystack. The geese felt very happy to see the tortoise alive. "By now, he should have learned when to keep quiet."
The tortoise agreed and put his head down in shame. The clever birds. In the jungle, there lived a flock of birds. One day, after covering a very long distance, they were hungry and tired. On the way, they found some rice scattered beneath a banyan tree. They happily landed there and began to eat the rice. Suddenly, they realized that they had landed in a trap. They found themselves unable to move. The bird king had an idea. He called all the birds. "Let's fly up together, lifting the net along with us. Otherwise, we will all be dead." The hunter who tried to trap the birds looked up in astonishment. He saw his net rise into the air with a flock of birds. He tried to run behind them, but the birds flew higher and higher. They flew over the rivers and mountains and finally reached a cave. The bird king called out to his friend. Soon, a small mouse peeped out of a hole.
"Dear friend, can you please help us?"
asked the king bird and continued,
"We have been trapped in this net, and you are the only one who can save us."
The mouse politely replied,
"I'll be glad to help you, and I shall first set you free with my sharp teeth."
"You must free my subjects first," said the king gracefully, shaking his head. The mouse, pleased with the king's concern for his subjects, started chewing the net with his strong teeth. Thus he set all the birds free. The bird thanked the mouse and happily flew back to their nest. Unity is strength. The Frogs and the Cunning Snake. Once upon a time, there lived a snake named Mandavishya on the foothills of a big mountain. As he grew old, he became too weak to hunt for food. He thought to himself,
I must find a way to feed myself without much effort.
Soon he came up with an idea. He crept to a pond that was full of frogs, and he sat at its very edge very quietly with a sad face. As time passed by, one of the frogs who was observing the snake came forward and asked the snake, "Sir, why are you not moving about in search of food as usual?"
Oh dear, last night I went and accidentally bit a Brahmin's son, and he died. His father cursed me that I should serve my prey for the rest of my life, and that I should live on whatever they offer me. This is the reason I came to serve your community.
Soon the story reached the ears of the king of the frogs. He visited the snake himself to make sure that what he heard of the snake was true. After the snake had assured the king of the frogs of his intention to serve them, he was very excited and rode on the snake's back. Seeing this, the rest of the frogs followed suit. This way, the snake became successful in making good company with the frogs' community. The next day, the snake started crawling slowly with the frogs on his back. When the king of the frogs noticed, he asked, "Friend, why aren't you crawling swiftly, as you usually do?"
I have had nothing to eat,
replied the cunning snake.
I am too weak to crawl swiftly.
The frog king replied, "All right then, you can eat the smallest frog at the end of your day." The snake became very happy to see his plan working. He quickly gobbled up the frog at the end of his day. In this way, every day after a ride on the snake's back, the frog king would say, "You may eat the frog at the end of your day." The snake would then quickly gulp it down. This continued for many days until the snake had eaten all of the frogs except the frog king himself, who seemed quite unaware of this fact. The very next day after the ride on the snake's back, the frog king uttered the words, "You may eat the frog at the end of your day." And the snake promptly turned around and gulped him down. Thus, the entire frog community had met with their tragic end on believing their cunning enemy. Thoughtlessness leads to disaster.